Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's now my pleasure to introduce Ms. Annegret Kramp-Karrenbauer, sometimes referred to by her initials AKK, as opposed to an AK-47, is the leader of the Christian Democratic Union, CDU. Since 2018 CDU leadership election, succeeding Angela Merkel. She previously served as Secretary General of the party and as Minister President of Saarland from 2011 to 2018, the first woman to lead the government of Saarland and fourth woman to head a German state government. Kramp-Karrenbauer is regarded as socially conservative, but on the CDU's left-wing and economic policy, and has been described as a centrist. She is an active Catholic and has served on the Central Committee of German Catholics. She is married to Helmut Karrenbauer, a retired mining engineer with whom she has 3 children. We heard your interview on Channel 1 on Saturday night. It was a breath of fresh air, and we welcome you to the Herzliya Conference. The floor is yours.
Lieber Amos Gilad,
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and a privilege for me to address you today as leader of the German CDU. In the tradition of Konrad Adenauer, Helmut Kohl, and Angela Merkel, I made a conscious decision that my first official trip into a country outside the EU would be to Israel. And like my predecessors, I say, to stand up for the security of Israel is part of the German raison d'etat, and this holds true definitely for me as the new chairperson of the CDU. Germany and Israel have a mutual, lively partnership today, and we have a very efficient partnership in security matters. Israel contributes to the security of people in Germany, for example, fighting terror, and in a close cooperation of our security agencies, and I'm very grateful for that. I look forward to my discussions in this conference in the coming days, to my political discussions. We do have enough topics for that. I am sure you had good reasons to choose for this year's Herzliya conference the theme, Navigating Stormy Waters. Indeed, we have to navigate stormy seas and stormy times. 3 points that are very important for me personally are the ones I'd like to address. First point, 30 years ago, the Berlin Wall fell and the Iron Curtain in Europe. After that, we thought the world would turn into a global zone of peace, of freedom, of democracy, of the rule of law and prosperity. Today, we have to admit, till now, this did not happen. Let's look us around in Hong Kong. 30 years after the fall of the Berlin Wall, hundreds of thousands demonstrate for freedom and the rule of law. At the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square a few weeks ago in Khartoum in Sudan, demonstrations were brutally quelled. Autocrats walk around confidently in many places. Authoritarian societal models, human dignity and freedom of people are disregarded. We see that checks and balances, freedom of the press, the rule of law, and the independence of the judiciary are questioned in many places, even in the middle of Europe. But those who would say cynically the liberal democracy is obsolete, I would point out very clearly liberal democracy, human rights, freedom of the press, rule of law, and checks and balances were right. They will stay right forever. And therefore, we have to stand up all over the world. Constructive and similar-minded states have to work together globally. I wish that the states who share democratic values stick together very closely, more closely than before. We have to cooperate multilaterally, fighting terror and against proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. We have to stand up for fair world trade. At the same time, in our countries, we have to make order in our own house. And this holds true from the inside. Democracy is threatened. And here I see a huge responsibility for the center, the democratic center in our countries and in the whole world. We have to preserve democracy for civilized discourse and a respectful art of relating to each other, for a civilized controversy, which in the end leads to a solution of problems where every one of us wins. And this is what my party and myself stand for. My party will always fight against those who incite and exclude, who tolerate anti-Semitism, extremism, and anti-Semitism. This is a historical responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, we navigate through stormy waters as a very quick change driven by technology and innovation is captured our societies. A lot of consequences of progressing digitalization, a data-driven economy, new forms of communication, artificial intelligence, new materials, biotechnology, and human enhancement, we can merely guess the consequences of all this. I'm in favor to adopt these changes openly and see and manage the change with a positive and optimistic attitude. And this is something we can learn in this country. We have technological openness and the mindset of entrepreneurship, and I think we in Germany have a lot to learn from you. In order to succeed in seeing this profound change as a positive change, we have to give them security. The security is a basic need of mankind. Faced with the great upheavals and seeing the stormy seas, we have a growing need for protection. And this is a task the states has to keep up. We have tasks in Germany and Israel for all of us: cybersecurity, protection of threats from the net, data protection, the protection of public infrastructures, the security of the infrastructures, data-driven economy, and industry of the future, protection against disinformation, manipulation, and external interference in democratic processes and elections. If we solve these problems, whenever we can offer the security, we will be optimistic and courageously able to manage the change, and the authoritarian temptations will be reduced and the confidence in democracy will increase. Ladies and gentlemen, my third point is the wise steels themselves ahead of time for facing stormy seas. For my country, Germany, and for the European Union, this means, and I want to say it very openly, we have to take more responsibility for our own security. And I don't want to talk only about a number, that we have to put aside 2% of our GNP for defense. We talk about trust. It's about the question of Germany, and we were very proud of it. If Germany stays a trustworthy partner who will stand up for what was promised in the past, I want to say it very openly. Germany has to try harder in security matters when we talk about the equipment of our own Bundeswehr, our own army, and our part in the European defense in regard to our part in NATO. And I don't say that because somebody requests it of us. I say this foremost because we have to understand our own interest. It's our own interest to keep the commitment that the state made towards the citizens, to protect the citizens within and without. Ladies and gentlemen, the relationship between Germany and Israel are very particular, very special relationships, and this is what they will always be, and they're very strong and very friendly. On this basis, here in Israel, I would like to talk to you with my partners at this Herzliya conference, and I want to say it very openly. And we will also talk about subjects we don't necessarily look eye to eye, and we will also talk why we stand in for a two-state solution. And I am of the opinion, and I say that this is also a point which will be discussed today, I am of the opinion that up to now we have not yet found a more intelligent mechanism in order to hold in the Iranian nuclear program and the JCPOA, and this is why we should stick to it. But I want to say at the same time, I do share the security concerns of Israel about the unexpected aggressive expansion of the regional influence of Iran. In the program of this conference, I noticed that the international experts talk very clearly about this subject and devote a lot of attention to it. And I hope that for us and for me personally, we will have new findings, new recommendations, which will help us to take wise political decisions in order to bring peace to this region and more security and more democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, every morning when I go to the headquarters of my party and go to work, I see a big photo in the lobby of Konrad Adenauer and Ben-Gurion. Ben-Gurion once said about Konrad Adenauer, I had the feeling I've met a friend. This endorsement of Israel to my home country is and remains an inestimable gift, and for me it's a commitment. Thank you very much.